What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Mo Money School, the school that teaches you everything that the school system didn't teach you. I'm your professor, Chris Mo. For today's episode, we're going to go over a topic that each and every one of us encounter at one point in our lives, whether we should lease or whether we should finance a car. Some of us have probably decided that we want to go ahead and buy a new car. A new car because we don't want to go ahead and deal with the maintenance or the unforeseeable accidents that a used car may or may not have. We don't want to deal with that stress. So instead, we'll rather buy a new car. And on top of that, maybe we're buying a luxury car that we really like. So the way we're going to tackle this video is the same way I tackled the used and new car video. We're going to look at the pros and cons. We're going to look at the positives and we're going to look at the negatives. As I mentioned before, my job is not to give you the answers. My job is to make you an independent thinker. That way, when you're out in the real world, you're able to make your own financial decisions. Ones that are going to make a positive impact in your life. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's start off with a lease. What is a lease? Leasing a car means that you're just borrowing a car from a dealership for a certain amount of time. Usually any period between 36 to 48 months. At the end of the period, you may have two decisions. You can either return the car back to the dealer or you can purchase the car and make it yours. But why do some people lease and why do some people not? Let's look at the pros and cons. Some of you may decide to lease a car because of your financial situation. You see, leasing a car may give you lower monthly payments and you may be able to put less of a down. Because at the end of the day, you're not paying that full sticker price that's valued for that car. You're only paying what you're leasing it up to. That's the little trick. Because you're going to return that car. And on top of that, since you're leasing it, you're not going to be worried about the maintenance fees that come with it. Usually, you can negotiate some of that maintenance fee. So for some of you, financially, this might be a better route. On top of that, you're not going to have to worry about reselling that car after you're done with it. Once you're done with the lease, you'll be able to return it back. So financially, this might be a better decision for some of you. You have lower payments. You don't have to worry about so many maintenance fees. It's usually all covered. You can negotiate certain things. And when you're done with the lease, you can return it. You're not going to have to worry about reselling it. You're not going to have to worry about the future value of it. You don't care about depreciation because it's not yours. And once the lease is up, you can get yourself a brand new car. Some businesses actually lease their cars because they can be considered a tax deduction because they write it off. What are some negatives when it comes to leasing a car, right? Some of the negatives are the fact that you never acquire any equity in that car. It's never going to be yours. You're just borrowing it. You're going to have to return it, and you're going to have to return it in the shape that it was given to you. Obviously, there's going to be some normal wear and tear, but anything over that, they're going to charge you. You see, sometimes there are going to be hidden fees that you're never going to account for. You see, when you go to a car dealership, the salesman's always just going to try to negotiate with you your monthly payment. They're not going to tell you how much you're paying in the long run. They just want to see if you're comfortable with your payment. And then they're going to start shooting hidden fees. And even when you return it, there's going to be even more hidden fees. One of the hidden fees is the fact that if you go over your miles. You see, when you lease a car, there's going to be a restriction of how much you can drive it. And the reason why they're restricted is because the car depreciates. The car loses its value the more you use it. So if you use it an excessive amount, when you return that car dealership is not going to be able to sell it for as high as they wanted to. And even though you are paying less on a monthly payment for that new car, you are going to have to pay a higher premium when it comes to your insurance. Some car dealerships even make you have gap insurance. For those of you who don't know what gap insurance is just insurance in case your car gets totaled. That way, the insurance company actually takes care of the rest of the payment of that vehicle. That way, you wipe your hands clean. Some dealerships don't let you know about that gap insurance or don't inform you about it. Some of them sneak it into the payment. So it really depends on the car salesman and the dealership that you go out to. That's why it's really, really important to network. It's really important to find a friend in the car dealership industry or someone that knows what they're doing, because car dealerships and car salesmen are gonna always try to finesse you. That's just the way the system works. It's a business. They're in business to make profit, and they're gonna do it one way or another. And lastly, I threw it in here just to remind people, because from where I'm from, a lot of people like to customize their cars, right? Some people associate the cars that they drive with their identity. So they like to add little tweaks here and there. But when it comes to leasing a car, you're just borrowing that car. You're gonna return it at one point or another, right? So they don't want to lend you a white car and you turn it back pink. They want to give you the car and return it as you were given it. That's why you have to treat it with respect, and you can't customize it to your own liking. Now financing, right? Financing means that you're paying a car loan. You're paying this car because at the end of the day, it's gonna be yours. You're paying it to own it. You're not borrowing it, you're gonna own it. And usually this financing loan is going to be anywhere between 63 to 72 months, depending on your own circumstance. Let's look at the positives when it comes to financing a car. One of the first positives that stand out is that at the end of your agreement, the car is yours. You get to keep the car at the end. You paid it in full. It's yours to keep. You can do whatever it is you want with that car. It's not like a lease that you're borrowing it and you're going to have to return it. No, when you finance a vehicle, it's yours to keep. And that's why you can drive it as much as you want. The car dealership doesn't care how many miles you put into it. They don't care what you did to a car. They don't care if you got into an accident. As long as you pay for the car, then it's all good. You get to keep it. That's why you can customize it to your own liking. You can do whatever it is you want. But it also comes with a cost, right? Because later down that road, if you decide to go ahead and keep that car in the long run, then you're going to deal with that maintenance later down the road. And since you're financing that car and the car is yours, then the banks don't care what you do to that car or what happens to it. So when it comes to your insurance premiums, you may be able to get a lower insurance premium, because at the end of the day, you're gonna have to pay that car off anyways. Because when it comes to leasing, dealerships want full coverage on that car. Some of them may want full coverage on a finance because they want to go ahead and see that they're gonna get their money back. But when it comes to financing, you can also sometimes get just the lowest possible insurance ever, because you're going to be stuck with a car payment either way. You're not going to live off until you pay off that car payment. But there comes a cost with that, right? Let's look at the negatives. One of the negatives is that you're going to have a higher monthly payment. You see, when it comes to leasing, the car dealership is only looking at that term that you're going to be making payments. When it comes to financing, they see the whole value of that car. They want to get the full money for that car, not just the amount of time that you used it for. That's why your monthly payments are going to be a lot higher. So even though you're paying less in insurance, you're paying more on a monthly payment. On top of that, when you go to this car dealership, they're going to require a higher down payment. They're going to require anywhere between 10 to 20%. So it's going to be more money out of your pocket initially. And even though it's a new car and it's probably covered under the warranty, if you decide to keep that car, you're responsible for maintaining that car after the warranty is expired. You see, cars depreciate. After you drive it off of that lot, in a couple of years, that car is going to lose up to 50% of its value. And as time goes on, that car is going to require more maintenance, more checkups, more cost, which in the long run adds up. But since you got it at really low miles, and if you really take care of it, that car can go a long way. Technology has advanced. It's not like back in the days when cars were only good at a certain miles. Nowadays, cars are made to last. They have better technology, better materials. So that way, cars are made more durable. So financing may be a good option for you. What can we conclude out of the positive and negatives? My job is not to give you the answers. My job is to make you an independent thinker. I'm going to provide you with the facts and you come up with your own conclusions. We saw the pros and the negatives when it comes to financing and leasing a car, but we're all in different financial situations. We all make different incomes. We all have different likes and dislikes. We all have a different vehicle that we may have in mind to purchase. So when it comes to deciding whether you should lease or finance a car, it depends. It depends on your situation. But if you were to ask me, the way I would look at this situation, the average person goes about 9 cars in their whole entire lifetime. Majority of us want a car because we want to be out and explore the world. But later down the road, we're going to probably want to start a family. we're gonna want something nicer. A car is gonna mess up. So is it really worth to buy the most expensive car at that time? Are you buying that car to impress people who you don't even like? That's the real question. Can you afford that car? Can you financially afford that car? You have to start thinking in the future. See exactly how long you're gonna last with that car, and then make your decision. In my opinion, I tell my students this: if you can afford to pay a car in full, do it. Don't get yourself into debt. Getting into debt is what causes us to stay in poverty. Is what causes us to stay in the bottom level, especially if you don't have a high income. And if it's a luxury car, a car with all the upgrades, or a Beamer or Mercedes, one of those fancy cars, right? Then my suggestion to you is to lease that car. Because truth be told, something may happen to that car. And when that something happens, it's gonna cost us. And I'm not sure if you guys look at the cost when it comes to fixing these cars, but it hurts your pocket a lot. Why do you think rich people don't finance their cars? They don't buy or finance their Mercedes or Beamers or Ferraris or Lamborghinis. No, they lease their cars because they know the value between an asset and a liability. They also know the value between something that appreciates and depreciates. A car, if used incorrectly, it's a liability. On top of that, it depreciates. So instead of putting money into your pocket, it's always going to be taking money out. If that doesn't make sense for you, then that means you haven't watched my first video in regards of an asset and a liability, which is something that you need to take a look at. Because all this, everything that I'm teaching, it all goes together. All these things are made so you can become an independent thinker. So you can make the correct financial decisions towards your own life. That way you don't come out losing in this game of life. So I'll leave you with this. Think about your future plans. Think about your financial situation. And if you're buying a car just to impress people who you don't even like, then you gotta fix that first. So besides that, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video in regards of leasing or financing a car. You saw the pros, you saw the cons. Now it's time to look at your situation. Which should you go towards to? Does it make sense? And if it does, I hope you make the correct decision. There is no right or wrong answer. The only thing that matters is if it makes sense. Does it make sense financially? And if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. That way you're alerted whenever I upload a new video. And smash the like button to help me out with the YouTube algorithm so we can get more people enrolled into Mo Money School. And if you want to go ahead and see more of me, go ahead and follow me on my Instagram, follow me on my Twitter, riseandgrind.mo. I post there pretty much daily. And you can also follow me on my other YouTube channel called Chris Mo's Journey, where I post there pretty much once a month and I give you an update about what's going on with my life. Besides that, class is dismissed and I'll see you guys next time.